Podcasting from sunny Clearwater, Florida, home to one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. Each week, we bring you real conversations with inventors, entrepreneurs, and product pros navigating the wild world of innovation. Whether you're just getting started or ready to scale, this is your place to fuel up and launch forward. And now here's your host, innovator, author, and invention expert, Carmine Danisco.
Hi everyone, Carmine Danisco here. We are on the Launch Network. You are listening to the Launchpad. We're on our 8th season, which is pretty cool. You know, I'm so surprised we made it this far. Podcasts go in and out and up and down, and we've had some great guests. And as promised for this season, we're going to be returning. We're bringing on some of the good guests, those great guests we had on the previous seasons, previous episodes. And all you listeners that have stuck with me and with the show, I truly appreciate it. And as promised, I have an awesome guest today. We're going to go over his background. You know, every time we get together, the time goes by fast. You know, we were just talking for several minutes before we started recording. And you know what? It just is like, let's just turn this microphones on and get going. So without further ado, Mr. Rick Cesari. Rick, what's happening, my friend?
Carmen, it's great to see you, and definitely congratulations on your 8th season. That's really remarkable. A lot of podcasts don't make it past their first season, and so that's a really great job. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, man. You know, and as I mentioned, a lot, I get feedback on the show, and a lot of people are like, Carmen, listen, we like you. Just stop talking so much. You know, we want to hear from the guests. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, I think that's a lot of reasons people stuck around because of guests like yourself. I mean, your things that you've done, the things that you continue to do, not only in your business, but also how you help in the community out, how you're doing some great things. I think that is one of the reasons the show has become as popular as it has. So, man, I appreciate you coming back on.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm sure also it's because of all the great advice and help you offer people, which helps them become successful. And that's important.
Yeah. And I'm sure you get that too. You kind of can't help it, right? I know you're somebody who likes to help people, not only with your books and your information and different things. It was weird, as I got older, it kind of switch turned, and I was just like, hey, let's start helping people, and it was a weird thing. It didn't like happen overnight. I don't know how it happened for you, but in my younger years, I really never thought of that. I think because I was just always running around with my hair on fire. That's why I don't have any more left. But and then all of a sudden, you that switch throws where, you just start helping people. For you, because I know you help a lot of people with your stuff.
Yeah, no, it's more rewarding. And then what also I found is when you stop running around with your hair on fire, because I went through that same stage, it seems like good things start to happen and good things start to come to you without even trying. I guess there's a reason for that, but it's definitely a good transition or a good switch. And I know we both enjoyed doing that. So.
Yeah, it is funny. I don't know if it's the universal laws or whatever that is, but one of those things where you just go and when you're trying to make things happen, it seems like not only it takes much longer for them to happen, but sometimes they don't, accumulate or appear. But one of those things where you're just, cruising along and you've calmed down and you're just working. It seems like that's when you start getting hit with all those things that you wanted to happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So hey, let me get you caught up on what, because I know it's been probably a couple years since we talked, and I'll just give you a quick catch up. And my whole background is in direct response TV and infomercials and things like that, and had a lot of success doing that. And in the last really quote unquote infomercial project that was very successful that I did was called the Dormeo mattress topper. And they grew from 0 to 40 million in about 18 months.
Wow.
And it was like one of the old, success stories using long form infomercials, short form infomercials. But since that time, this was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And that was a referral through one of the Amazon sellers that I work with, called Avenue 7 Media, and they referred and they said, hey, this might be a good project to do. But anyway, since that time, I've had several different clients, but very few of them. It's kind of like TV is like a weapon in your arsenal, but you got to be doing a lot of other things to make products grow and sell. And you know that. You've had a lot of guests on and things like that. It's not like the old days where you just say, hey, let's go make an infomercial, and then all of a sudden we'll get a lot of sales. So it's really fun for me because of the different clients I'm working with, learning more about all the digital marketing and TikTok. And believe it or not, I have I make some videos for some of my clients. I have a video on Instagram with 1.5 million views, that's about, and yeah, so it's kind of fun learning about the new marketing techniques and engaging in them, and then using the experience you had from previous things to use it with these new marketing channels. And it's been a lot of fun.
Wow, it's because of the depth of experience you have, and then you're bolting on the newer platforms. That is what you're talking about. I mean, that's exploding some of these things, because you still need to have that background, those things that you learned, even though that you got these newer platforms, you still fall back into those old items, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You build on that experience and the things. I've always said for a long time, human nature doesn't change, just the marketing platforms change. So if you understand the hot buttons of what people are looking for, and you can adapt them to some of these new platforms, you can still be successful. And it's real interesting because now, the transition, and we still do a little bit of TV for our clients, but it's a lot of online video stuff and the short things, the TikTok videos and the Instagram and that type of thing. And it's been fun and a challenge to learn learn how to do something new and then watch it be successful. It's really cool.
Yeah, I tell you what, like, I can't even spell TikTok if somebody needed me to use it. I mean, I'm like, but it's really exploding, and has been, obviously. And TikTok and Instagram. Now, how do you find the differences? You're a whiz at these videos and the sales. Is there a different approach for that online platform as TV in the video in the style, I guess?
Yeah, there's some similarities, and then obviously there's some differences. One big similarity is, even with these short videos, and it's more important with the short video, everyone's looking for a hook. What's the hook that's going to, draw the viewer in and keep them from clicking away to the next video? And that's really important to figure out. And it was the same thing, even in our long form infomercials. We had to develop a hook to keep the viewer's interest, so they wouldn't tune it out. And so those things, there's some similarity there. Let me tell you a funny story. One of my clients I've been working with for about 1.5 years, it's called LPs8e23. And it's an Epsom salt lotion, concentrated Epsom salt lotion in a bottle, as opposed to, taking an Epsom salt bath. So you rub it on in sore muscles. And one of the natural ingredients in Epsom salt is magnesium. And right now, magnesium is like the hottest supplement online everywhere around. So we're just, really focusing on talking about how you can get magnesium absorbed through your skin in a natural way. And we're getting lots and lots of response to it. But let me go back to the TikTok thing. So I have a cleaning company that comes into my home, and every 2 weeks they do, cleaning. And I saw the guy who owned the company was there, and he was always on his phone. So I was looking over his shoulder, and I go, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm checking my social media." And I looked down, and he had like 500,000 followers on social media. And this is a guy that's just like owns a local cleaning company. And I go, and he was Hispanic. And he spoke pretty good English. And I go, "Who does your social media for you?" And he goes, "Oh, someone named Nada, and Nada Donzali, another Italian, to join the group." Anyway, turns out she's 22 years old, came over from Italy. She's a student at a local college here, Bellevue Community College, studying marketing. And so I called her up and asked if we could have a cup of coffee. And I got together, and she explained how she was doing all these videos for the cleaning company. I said, "Well, how would you like to do it for a national brand?" And she said yes. So we hired her immediately, and she scripts and makes all the videos. And since we brought her on for that one product, Epsonet, we've had like 12 million total video views of all the different videos. She's probably made about 200, 250 videos, and just amazing. And so I've kind of learning the business from somebody young that really understands it. You know what I mean? And so it's a really good collaboration between her and I, because I can bring my experience and background to her knowledge of how to make these things work online. And I'll tell you what, for the brands I'm working with, that's the best channel for generating awareness, traffic to their Shopify site, sales on Amazon. If you can, be consistent and make enough of these videos and get the response, it's really cool.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is, you kind of get the best of both worlds. Somebody like yourself with a huge chunk of not only experience and business knowledge and product knowledge of what to do, and then bolting on someone that has that future, that information on these newer platforms. I mean, what an awesome mixture, right?
Yeah, it's awesome, and I'm learning from her too. And she basically goes on TikTok or Instagram, researches which types of videos are working, and then doesn't copy them because they're different products, but copies the structure. And it's like these are going viral. These are getting millions of views. And then the one thing I've learned about TikTok, it's kind of like a crapshoot. You just basically have to throw out a dozen videos, and then one of them will take off. And then you do another, and there's no necessarily rhyme or reason for which one takes off. And then you do another dozen videos, another one will take off. But what happens is once that one goes viral, it basically, a rising tide lifts all boats. All of a sudden, then it attracts attention, and your older videos will start getting more and more views, especially on Instagram, because they stay up on there. So anyway, it's been fascinating to learn and implement with my clients.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
that is really cool. I mean, to be able to do that, it's great. And we work with a lot of at the United Vendors Association and myself. We work with a lot of local universities, colleges, also, and that's something really cool to keep in mind. What to be able to bring that in and mix and you're giving not some super experience too. So
Oh, you're not kidding.
with these
Absolutely.
national events, with these national brands, I mean, what an opportunity.
Yeah, it's definitely a win-win. Obviously, it helps me, it helps my client, but then on the same hand, it gives her the exposure of working with these big national brands and our companies trying to become brands, and just it's great, like you said, a win-win type of thing. So look at your local colleges, your marketing department, and you might be able to find a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, leads me into a question. So everyone, and this, and I'm an inventor, your inventors, we all think our products are the greatest. I mean, it's going to be the next big hit. What do you really look for? I mean, I know you get hit with so many people that want you to help them with their products, and not only on the side that you work in. What do you really look for? How do you figure out which one's going to be the next big thing?
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I'm at a point in my career where I'm not really out searching for business. Everyone asks me, "Are you retired yet?" And I go, "Well, I'm kind of semi-retired because I work like Mondays and Wednesdays, and I play golf Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday." So what happens is I usually get referred to a product or a person that has a product, and so the two things that are important for me are, and this maybe goes against a little bit of you working within the inventors that you do, but I look for a product that's already got a little bit of traction in the marketplace. I mean, if I'm going to spend my time working with them, um, and I don't care what it is, they have some level of sales already, which means they're valid, the product's validated. People are responding to it. And what I do best is come in and take where there's a little bit of interest and then magnify that interest and help them magnify. And that's kind of what I do best. And then the second thing I look for, and this over your career, I at this point in my life, I just want to work with good people, nice people, I don't have to cover any overhead and take projects I don't want type of thing. So it's a good product with a little traction in the marketplace and with the good people behind it. And then usually we can make something like that work pretty well. I think you're familiar with another product that I'm working with, which is Quick and Bright.
Oh,
Um, and I don't know if you know Sean and Justin Fay, the two brothers. And Sean
yes.
and I used to be partners in our agency. Anyway, they bought the company from the original founders. It's a 70-year-old product, and they're trying to relaunch it. What's interesting about that was back in the mid to late 90s, the product was very, very successful, fueled by TV infomercials, and it got up to about $35 million in sales. But they never made the transition to like digital marketing. So over the course of the 2000s, the brand just kind of started to go downhill. And so Sean and Justin bought the business, and I've been helping them as an advisor to remarket it. And the same thing, we've started doing the online videos, and with cleaning, it's great. The before and afters with cleaning and stuff like that, which is stuff I've learned from working with OxiClean and things like that. And yeah, slowly but surely we're gaining traction, and I think the next few years it's gonna be very, very prominent again.
It's so great that you mentioned that because I know a lot of products that went the way of the dodo bird because they just didn't make that transition, or they sat back and said, "Oh, we have enough sales. We don't have to worry about that." Right? I mean,
Right.
it's amazing how if they didn't keep up, they were gone, and they're good products.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little while ago, I forget who it was, somebody approached me and there was a product called DD7, which talks about an old TV infomercial, and he had it, but he was trying to make it work in Europe, and it didn't make sense because I was already working with Quick and Bright to work with him. But there's probably some products out there that might be interesting that are sitting on the shelf that could be revived with the right type of marketing type of thing. It doesn't take too many viral videos to create a lot of demand for a product.
Yeah, and having a product that actually does what they say it does and delivers, and it's a quality product, it makes it a little bit easier to get those sales going.
Oh, absolutely. That was the one thing nice about Quick and Bright. Yeah, and it's kind of a little bit of an answer to the question of what you look for in a product. And you deal with lots of inventors. One, it really has to work. So when you start doing your marketing, people don't get it and say, "Hey, this doesn't do what they say it does." So both of those products, the Epsonet and the Quick and Bright, definitely work. Quick and Bright's been around for 70 years, so it's got a long track record. What's nice thing about doing the new marketing is you're getting younger people introduced to the brand, but older people, I've been using Quick and Bright for 30 years and that type of thing. And which is great because then you can use those testimonials and things. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. But that's another one you can add to the checklist of products is and again, I'm not telling you anything, but maybe some of your listeners, the product should solve a problem and it should really work well. So you can make those marketing claims and the people won't be disappointed when they get the product.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And things that you've always kind of talked about, the demonstrability of it. You want to be able to have fun with that product, and making some of those commercials and some of those commercials back in the day was probably a lot of fun, but there was a lot of pressure, right, when you were making those because the costs were insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about that. Probably, when I started out, this was I'm going to really date myself I started doing this before the internet in the late 80s.
I know the feeling.
And it was, and you followed TV production. It was super expensive just to get the equipment and the crew and the editing it's a lot of thought had to go into what you had to do to make a show successful because the cost was so prohibitive. And nowadays, this is your whole camera and crew and audio and everything else. And if you try to, except with certain TV spots, if you try to do it too fancy, people reject it online because they're so used to seeing stuff shot with an iPhone or whatever type of phone they might have. But it's really cool to the things that you can do with that and the difference in the cost. But it really allows you to test a lot of different things. And it's like, oh, should we put this in the video or this in the video? Well, let's test both of them and see which one people respond to. And that's the really nice thing about the technology and everything that's happening right now. But don't ask me about AI. That really scares me.
Yeah, no,
What
me
they can
too.
do.
Me too. I'm right with you, But no, and that's what's great about, I think, through your career, you have moved with technology instead of fighting it. Because I know a lot of producers and people that did things, they didn't want to use all these technologies and all these things, and they fought it. And again, they just kind of disappeared because you're crazy to fight that stuff because of what you can do and the cost.
Oh yeah. So I have a little bit different philosophy. I've gotten experience over the years working with the companies I have. And now I'm more I understand what needs to be done. I don't necessarily know how to do it, but I know to find the best agency or the best person to implement it. And then I think I like to compare it to like a conductor with an orchestra. And it's like I know the best flute player and the best drum player and the best, whatever. And so I help, part of the strategy I do for these companies is put together the best Amazon agency or the best Amazon ad agency. And that just comes from trial and error, working with different agencies and products and things. And I've developed some really good contacts. And then if it makes sense, you put these people that really know how to do it in place, and then just make sure that they're performing right. And it's really funny. All the metrics we learned on TV, like MER and those type of things, and the same. They use the same. Sometimes the terminology a little bit different, but it's the same exact thing online. And when you're working with, what's your media efficiency? What's your ROAS, your return on ad spend? And it's so funny that because we grew up using these things, and they're still using them. Just sometimes they have a different name.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But I like what you said, and I want our listeners to, even if you have to play this back a little bit, I loved what you said about getting the right team together, getting the right people together, because it's so important. We can't do it all ourselves, and you have to be able to admit that you don't know something, you're not sure about it. But getting the best people that you can get together, that seems like, it may take a little bit for you to admit, hey, I don't know how to do that or whatever it is. But all of you listeners out there, get a team together, get the right people. As Rick said, it's so important to have that Rolodex of the right people. And if you don't, talk to people that have done it, not people that say they've done it. Talk to people that actually have done it, like somebody like Rick.
Have done it or are doing it. And, there's just if you just talk about the marketing segment of the business, there's no way one person could be an expert at TikTok, Amazon, influencer marketing. And everything's become niched and very specialized. And it's exciting because there's lots more opportunities of ways for a product to blow up and get successful. But it's almost impossible for one person to have all that expertise. So that's why you have to find the people that do. And what you do is that product's really successful. What type of marketing they're doing? Are they doing influencer marketing? Are they doing it themselves, or are they using an agency? That type of thing. And then you figure out, and then just see if you can do a blueprint for whatever product you're working with. A kind of not copy, but copy the strategy, I guess, is a better idea.
Yeah, the style, the strategy, you're exactly right. You're not copying. I mean, to me, it's you putting it out there. It's awesome. It's a great idea. A lot of inventors, a lot of people that we talk to, Rick, they want to be first. And I always say it's very expensive to be first,
Oh, yeah.
So like you said, see what they're doing, see what's working out there, and just make something that's in the same style, the same type of voices, or the same type of whatever it is. You can't copy it anyway because it's probably a totally different product. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt, the information or what you need is out there. The people that you need are out there. It's just finding them and talking to them and doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's interesting, like I said, how, you know, I was lucky to find this person through my cleaning agency. But your eyes are open and you're looking for things that are successful. And then it's like, hey, something's going on here. Let me check it out further. And we could have had a cup of coffee and it could have been a total dead end, but it wasn't, and so you have to test everything to work. So I end up finding if I ever see somebody reaches out to me on LinkedIn, I know you probably get solicited a lot of times for people that want to do a service or something. But if something looks interesting to me, I always book a call just to see, like, check it out, and does it make sense to dig deeper or engage further type of thing. And I spend a lot of time doing that, just to find these diamonds in the rough that are working right now,
Yeah.
type of thing. So that's one tool I use definitely to help find potential marketing partners.
Oh yeah. Social media has been great for people that are utilizing it in the right way. There's no doubt about it. Is there any other clients that you're working with that just have some cool products or they're new that you can talk about? I know you always have a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, no, what's in keeping with my lifestyle right now, I have three really good clients, the Quick and Bright guys, the Epsonet, and then I've had a longtime client named Gordon Bond, and he owns a company called Bond Arms, and they make small little two-shot derringers. But anyway, he's a good marketer. And I met him, actually, I gave a keynote talk at one of the Dan Kennedy events. And he came up to me afterwards and said, hey, I have a kind of unique product line. I'm in the manufacturing business. I live in Texas. And so I got to know him, and I definitely have used TV to help market his product. But he's also very interested in he's about our age, and he is very interested in staying healthy. And he's in marketing a colostrum product now, and I'm helping him with the marketing on that. And that kind of ties into the book I just wanted to mention real
Yeah.
quick, called The Wellness Business Blueprint. And all my life I've been interested in health and wellness. And I got started really in this business with a big success with the Juice Man juicer and the Bread Man bread machine. It was a whole company built around helping people eat more healthy. So I've always been interested in health and wellness. And that business is exploding as the aging baby boomers want to live forever. And so I have a partner in the book who's a naturopathic doctor. And she built an online branding course for doctors. So it was a good collaboration between my direct to consumer marketing and her branding expertise for doctors. And there's a really, really good information in there if you are building, like, any kind of doctors, massage therapists, that type of thing, that you're building your practice, or you're trying to sell a wellness product like the Epsonet or supplement or things like that. A lot of great information in there.
Yeah, 100%. And I had that book sitting on my coffee table in my office, and it's awesome. And you're exactly right. It's amazing how it was kind of a lull, and now health and wellness is everywhere. It's in everything. That's everyone talks about it, right?
Yeah, all the time. There's always something on the news, and definitely. And it's funny, the Epsonet client, I spell out like a marketing plan if you have a wellness product that's not a service, that's more like a supplement or lotion or whatever. And we're actually following the marketing plan in the book, and they're growing really tremendously. And it's just like, you need to do PR, and you need to do this, you need to do, and they're following all the steps, and it's just working. I
Yeah.
guess it's over the years, those things you've proven they work, and they still do.
Yeah, a lot of I own a gym. It's actually connected to my office here, a health facility. It's kind of more of a pain clinic, but it has a small gym built onto it. And what I find is individuals that are in the health industry, and I don't want to like lump them all together.
Right.
They're not really interested in a way of marketing and really all that stuff. So it's somebody like yourself or a book that they can follow really helps them because it's not something I don't want to say they're interested in. They're interested in helping people.
Right. And they're good. They have expertise. And we see this all the time with doctors and chiropractors and naturopaths. Their expertise is the medical side of how they can help relieve pain and how they can help cure a symptom or whatever, but they're not business people. So that's what, for primarily one of the reasons for writing the book, is to really give a simple plan out there that they can use to grow their business, or at least think about the business side of the business. So
100%. As we said even earlier, you can't know everything, you can't do everything, you can't be everything. So a book like that can help them not only succeed, because if they are working and they're succeeding, they're helping more people. So that's really what they want to do. So it's great that you put that all together, because I do get, when we bring people in, practitioners and things that we bring on, that's the one thing. I don't want to say they're lacking. It's the one thing that they're not interested in, but then they see that it works. So even if you give them 10 things to do, they do 5 and they go, holy crap, that stuff really works,
Oh yeah.
so
Carmen,
it is great.
I didn't know that about, is it like a pain clinic that you have?
It's a holistic pain clinic. And, we go through, as you said, nutrition. We get people that fly in from all over the country. It's really a deterrent to surgery, back pain, golf, things in that sense, people that are hurting themselves that don't want to get surgery and things like that. And the individuals I have working in this facility are trained by the Czech Institute, which is an institute it's out in California, but one of the top training academies.
That's awesome. Congratulations. I didn't know that. I should have figured you had your fingers in other things.
And not to get off base is, I had brought my father to this particular clinic for a back pain they had, and they wanted to do surgery, and they ended up giving him a program and stretches and nutrition, and he ended up not needing surgery. So I came back kind of like with you. I came back and said, hey, listen, how do I get involved in this? And then this facility that I'm in now, my office was open. So I ended up buying the building and moving into these offices and invested in the pain clinic. So yeah, it was awesome. But like with you, just talking to the cleaning person, and, you go after opportunities as you see them, or knowing, hey, do they all work out? No, but you take that chance and make that call and buy a cup of coffee.
The entrepreneurial spirit in you and I and a lot of other people that, that you'd see something, and the only it's a really good thing, and I'd say 90% of the time it benefits, but every once in a while there was a time in my life where I made some big mistakes, but where I was having some successes, and it's like all of a sudden you feel like you're bulletproof. Anything you touch can be successful until you learn some hard lessons, and it's like, oh, it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, I have been there. You're exactly right.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm invested in too many things that aren't working.
Oh, yeah. Yep, exactly.
No, 100%, man. There's no doubt about it. So cool, man. We're going to start closing up the show. And one, I know you're not really looking for products or clients. I don't know if you want to say, hey, I'm speaking here, or what do you got going on? Or I would love it.
No, I'm more low key. To be honest with you, I used to do at least a podcast a week, and this is the first one I've done in about a year. And put it this way, I'm always open to working with a good product with good people behind it. And so I'm totally open. They can reach me at rick@directbranding is my email address. And I always look at every opportunity that comes in. And because I still think, I get excited just like you, your juices start going when you see a product that checks off the boxes, and it's like, wow, this is cool, type of thing. And I still get the thrill. I don't know if it's adrenaline or whatever, where you help build a product or business and help it be successful. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you. I get excited just talking about these things. And that's why I love the podcast, because, we get to at least let people know and they can feel that excitement that it is achievable, if you do the right thing, work with the right people, and have the right reasoning in mind, so I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
key.
really
And
cool.
you mentioned that earlier about getting the right people and the right team. And I think that's one of the biggest things that can attribute success
Yeah.
is putting the right team together of people that have done it before. So
Yeah, no doubt. One quick question, and I know our listeners don't know your entire background. I want them to go out and kind of do some research on you. You worked with the George Foreman Grill. How was it working with George Foreman?
George was one of the nicest men you could ever meet. If you're old enough to remember the way heavyweight boxing was, most of the boxers would have these giant entourages and everything else. And George would fly around and he would have his son with him, or he'd have just one person, and very quiet guy. I tell everybody he was a minister, and every Sunday he would teach a sermon in downtown Houston, and just really good family values, and just a fantastic guy to work with. And I think I forget where he learned this. I don't know if he said it was Johnny Carson or Bob Hope or one of these famous old time um, people is that gave him the secret when he says the camera goes on, your personality changes, and then the big outgoing, you know, George's personality would come out. So, but he was just a very down to earth, great guy, and a pleasure to work with. I've spent a lot of time with him and at his house, and filmed a lot of commercials with him, and just it was just one of the highlights of my career, definitely.
Yeah, I remember you telling me the stories, and I just couldn't help but smile because of the stories. And not only was the product obviously a great success, but it was also a success in what he achieved and the things that he did and the kind of person he was. I thought it was just a product like that and all of the other things. That's what's really great about this business.
Yeah, yeah, combining the right personality with the right product, and
Yeah.
and you've seen a lot of duds though that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, but the other one is I mentioned Sean Fay before. When we had our agency together, we did Billy Mays' very first
Oh,
infomercial for OxiClean, and he was another really talented pitch man, great human being, fun to be around, and learned a lot from working with him too. Obviously, whenever you're working with somebody who's that good a salesman, if you don't learn something, your mind isn't open. So
yeah, no doubt. And he was kind of the same type. I met him a couple times, but the same type of personality when the camera came on.
oh, absolutely. It's like they flick a switch, and it's like a TV personality that just all of a sudden lights up the screen and stuff. And it's funny because you see some of these, again, going from back there to now, you see some of these successful people with big followings on TikTok, and they're doing interesting things on screen to get people's attention. So,
Yeah, no doubt about it. Because, that kind of personality could never work 24 hours a day. You'd be
oh
burnt
no,
out.
exactly, exactly.
So, all right. Well, that's awesome, man. As usual, Rick, so cool to have you on. I want to follow up on you. And, however, if you ever have something happening and you want to jump on, please get in touch with me, because our audience, I always get great feedback. I'll probably get some questions from this episode. I'll send over to you as I usually do.
Sure.
And it's so cool to catch up. And I wish we had so much more time. I mean, just the stories that you could tell that, I mean, I feel like we're cheating our audience because we're not just going so deep in your background and experiences is so vast, and it's just so much fun to hear the stories. And that's why I say do some research on Rick. You will be amazed at the things that he has accomplished. Obviously, working with the other people that he has with and the products he has. It is so great. It's an honor again to have you on. It's just so much fun.
Well, thanks, Carmen, and it's been really a pleasure. I forget how we originally met, but we've known each other for a long time now, and it's always great speaking with you, and I always look forward to it.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here. So all you listeners out there, again, get in touch with Rick or send a note to us, and we can always forward those over to him. I appreciate you all for sticking with us for these seasons, for these meetings and crazy things that we've gone through, even went through an epidemic with you all. So I appreciate that. If you can, go on out to Google Play or iTunes, leave us a rating, a review. Make sure you subscribe to the show. And until next time, you all take care.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you found the information helpful, we'd love for you to share our podcast and website with your friends. If you need help with an idea or invention, or have a topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, don't hesitate to reach out through our website. Please note that all statements and discussions are the opinion of the hosts and guests and should not be considered legal or business advice.